I don't like doing a lot of Splatoon 3 speculation because I don't like being wrong, and if there's one thing people are terrible at, it's predicting the future. That said, it's one day before a meaty Splatoon 3 direct, so if there were ever a time, it's now. I've been thinking about the Big Bubbler and what that's going to get used for. There are a lot of variables, like how long it lasts, how much damage its weak point can take, startup and recovery time, but let's just run with the theoretical idea that you can get surrounded with cover that you can shoot through and your opponents can't. One idea is to use it in big open areas so you have cover in a place you normally wouldn't. This would let short-range weapons traverse an area that would normally be dangerous, for example if they're being watched by an E-leader. It would also let long-range weapons set up in a place where they have powerful sightlines to use their range advantage, but would otherwise be bullied out of position by bombs and flankers. I think it's smart that the gameplay trailer shows off a charger using the Big Bubbler, because that's a weapon that normally couldn't stand out in the open. It needs to charge to one-shot someone, and during that in-between time, it's very vulnerable. If they can just stand there looking at you the whole time and not worry about being shot, that gives them more offensive potential. They'd need to get back to cover before it wears off, but depending on how it's balanced, it could be a sort of Team Fortress 2 uber-charged heavy sort of situation, where a Hydra just walks forward and gets in range of your team while it's effectively invincible and there's nothing you can do about it. There's some other ideas we can steal from other shooters that have shields like this, like Apex Legends and Halo. In Apex, where fights are likely to break out inside buildings with lots of choke points like doors and hallways, Gibraltar's Dome of Protection can force opponents to push into risky exposed positions in order to enter the dome where they can actually do damage. The mechanics are a little different than Splatoon in that Gibraltar's Dome blocks outgoing projectiles and not just incoming ones, but there's still a lot to learn from the tactics of how the bubble is positioned to make it as unsafe as possible for opponents to move inside the shield. Halo's bubble shield is pretty darn similar to what we see in Splatoon, so veterans of that series may have a leg up with understanding how to use the Big Bubbler. The counterplay will certainly be a little different than in Halo. In Splatoon, you can't just stick a grenade to the player in the bubble, nor can you drive a vehicle through it. It will also probably be less versatile, since the Big Bubbler appears not to last anywhere near as long as the generous 20 seconds you had with a Halo bubble shield, but we'll likely see it used in similar ways to block off choke points, allow a player one-way cover to win a fight through, or to block off an enemy sightline, turning a 1v2 into a 1v1.